Welcome to the Thunderdome, people. Just kidding. Well, kind of. Today we're diving headfirst into the military might of two nuclear-armed neighbors, India and Pakistan. It's the face-off you didn't know you needed, but trust me, it's spicy. We'll be looking at various aspects, including personnel, basically who has more boots on the ground, and in reserve, just in case. Then we're talking tanks, planes that go boom, boats that go glug glug boom, and the big kahuna nuclear weapons. So buckle up, grab your samosas or your biryani because things are about to get interesting. Let's see how these two South Asian titans stack up in 2025. Welcome to our detailed comparison of the military capabilities of Pakistan and India as of 2025. We'll be looking at various aspects including personnel, land forces, air power, naval power and nuclear weapons. All right, folks, let's talk about the bread and butter of any military. The people. We're talking about the brave men and women who sign up to, potentially dodge bullets and stuff. And it's no secret that India, with its massive population, has a bit of an advantage here. We're talking roughly 1.45 million active personnel in the Indian Armed Forces. That's a lot of folks in uniform. And just in case things get really hairy, India has another 1.15 million in reserve, ready to jump into action. Now, Pakistan, while not quite on the same scale, is no slouch either. They've got a leaner, meaner force of about 650,000 active personnel, and their reserve force is smaller too, at around 550,000, but you know what they say about it's not the size of the dog in the fight, right? Or was that something else? Anyway, moving on. But let's be real, folks, numbers aren't everything. You need training, you need equipment, and you need a good strategy. It's like having a really big kitchen. Doesn't matter if you don't know how to cook, right? So, while India might have the edge in sheer manpower, Pakistan makes up for it with, other things we'll get to in a minute. But remember, folks, war is a terrible thing. Nobody wins, except maybe the weapons manufacturers, am I right? All right, gearheads, this is your jam. Let's talk about the metal beasts that are the backbone of any good ground force tanks. And when it comes to India and Pakistan, let's just say they both like their toys. India, keeping with its go big or go home philosophy, boasts a hefty arsenal of around 4,800 main battle tanks. We're talking Russian-made T-90s, the homegrown Arjun tank, and a whole bunch of upgraded older models. Basically enough to make a tank enthusiast drool. Pakistan, ever the resourceful underdog, isn't far behind. They've got around 3,700 tanks, including the trusty old T-80s from our friends in Russia. Well, back when they were friends. The Chinese-made Al-Khalid, and their very own pride and joy, the Al-Zarar. Now, you might be thinking, Trevor, those numbers seem pretty close. Does that mean Pakistan could actually roll over India in a tank battle? And to that I say, hold your horses, cowboy. Because tanks aren't just about numbers, they're about technology, armor, and who's got the better snacks for the tank crews. Just kidding, maybe. But seriously, the terrain in this part of the world, with the Himalayas and all that good stuff, makes tank warfare tricky. It's not like those desert battles you see in the movies. So, while both sides have enough tanks to make Rommel jealous, it's not as simple as just lining them up and having a metal-on-metal brawl. All right, let's talk about the wild blue yonder, shall we? Because when it comes to projecting power, nothing says, "Don't mess with me," like a squadron of fighter jets screaming overhead. And in the skies above South Asia, it's India, once again, that boasts the bigger air force. We're talking about a fleet of around 680 fighter aircraft, including the Russian-made Sukhoi Su-30 MKIs, try saying that 5 times fast, French-made Mirage 2000s, and their very own Tejas light combat aircraft. Plus, they've got about 260 attack helicopters, because who doesn't love a good helicopter? They're like the flying Swiss Army knives of warfare. Transport troops, blow things up, you name it. Now, Pakistan, despite having a smaller air force, is no pushover. They've got a respectable 410 fighter jets, including the American-made F-16s, back when we sold them things, JF-17 Thunders, jointly developed with China, and some older Mirage fighters that still pack a punch. And when it comes to attack helicopters, they've got about 55 of them, mostly American AH-1 Cobras. Not bad, Pakistan, not bad, but here's the thing about air power. It all comes down to technology, pilot training, and who's got the better radar systems, because in a modern air battle you might not even see the enemy before they blow you out of the sky. All right, landlubbers, it's time to set sail for the high seas. Because when you're talking about two countries with coastlines, you've got to factor in naval power. And let's just say things get a little interesting. India, with its longer coastline and ambitions of being a global naval power, has been flexing its maritime muscles lately. They've got a formidable fleet of around 150 warships, including aircraft carriers, because everyone needs a floating airport, right? Destroyers, frigates, and even nuclear-powered submarines. That's right, the underwater kind that can stay submerged for months and, potentially ruin someone's day. Pakistan, on the other hand, has adopted a different approach. Instead of trying to match India ship for ship, they've focused on a smaller, more agile navy geared towards coastal defense and, let's be honest, causing a bit of mischief if needed. They've got around 11 major surface warships, including frigates and corvettes, and a handful of submarines, both diesel-electric and one that's, shall we say, a little more independent. You know what I'm talking about, right? Wink, wink. Now, on paper, India definitely has the upper hand here, but naval warfare, much like love, is a complicated dance. It's about strategy, cunning, and knowing how to use the element of surprise. All right, folks, time to address the elephant in the room, the one with the really, really big boom nuclear weapons, because when you're talking about India and Pakistan, you can't ignore the fact that they both have the power to end civilization as we know it. It's one of those comforting thoughts, isn't it? Anyway, both countries are members of the exclusive We've Got Nukes club, which honestly sounds like the worst club to be a part of. India, which first tested a nuclear device way back in 1974, is estimated to have around 160 nuclear warheads. Pakistan, not wanting to be left out of the mutually assured destruction party, conducted its own nuclear tests in 1998 and now possesses an estimated 170 warheads. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those numbers seem pretty close, right? And that's what makes this whole situation so, terrifying, because even a small nuclear exchange between these two would have catastrophic consequences, not just for the region, but for the entire planet. So, while we're busy comparing tanks and planes and boats, let's not forget about the big bad nukes lurking in the background, because when it comes to those, nobody wins. So there you have it, folks, a quick and dirty look at the military might of India and Pakistan in 2025. We've seen the tanks, the planes, the boats, and of course the giant planet-destroying nukes. Fun times, right? But in all seriousness, let's hope that these two countries can resolve their differences peacefully, because nobody needs a sequel to this showdown. The only winners in a war between India and Pakistan would be the weapons manufacturers, and nobody wants to see them get rich, right? So stay tuned for more insightful comparisons and analyses, because at X1X Lyrics, we're committed to bringing you the news that matters, even if it makes you want to hide under your desk. That's our comparison of the military strengths of Pakistan and India in 2025. Stay tuned for more insightful comparisons and analyses.